Netflix is the king of streaming entertainment platform. As of 2022, Netflix counts around 220 million subscribers in 190 countries. But after dominating the market for the last 15 years, we are starting to see the giant crumble. Netflix stocks have plummeted of minus 80% from its all-time high back in April, a much greater loss than any of its competitors. To prevent further decline, the management announced taking some heavy measures. Crackdown on password sharing, price increase, ad power accounts. All these actions were perceived as desperate attempts by mainstream media to save the sinking ship. Despite better performance than expected for Q2, investors don't seem to be willing to come back on board. Users keep on leaving and competition and critics keep on rising. How did they get there and what Netflix can do about it? Part 1. Netflix problem. War, inflation, and the end of lockdown are all factors that does not serve Netflix growth at the moment. But Netflix competitors are gaining market shares, which show that most issues might come from within. So what's going on exactly? We could talk about the way they focus on quantity instead of quality, the lack of marketing effort for the show they produced, or the lack of organic growth due to binge watching. All of these are valid points, but can easily be fixed if Netflix executives believe it's the right thing to do. For me, the biggest issue is one that is not talked enough and that can't be changed so easily: their very own business model. The business model. For that, we need to introduce the concept of flywheel. A flywheel is a machine which is difficult to start, but once it picks up speed and momentum, it gets very hard to stop. In business terms, a flywheel describes a virtuous cycle which by doing an action makes the next one easier, and the next one easier, and the next one easier. Here is Netflix's current flywheel. The original content they produce allows them to attract new subscribers and retain existing ones. The more subscribers they get, the more money they generate, the more money they make, the more they can afford to buy and produce more content. That's great, but that means that anyone with big pocket can actually enter the streaming market. Netflix's only competitive advantage is its algorithm. The more users and the more data they have, the more they know what we want to see and the best they can recommend the right program to us. But that's about it. 15 years ago, they found the perfect recipe for success. Limited cost, zero logistic, predictable prediction, high retention. Investors would just love that. So they went public. By going public, your investors start to dictate your goals and growth must be constant, if not exponential. So they kept on rolling the wheel, injecting more money to produce more content to increase the amount of subscribers. Not that they are implemented worldwide. They can't keep on increasing. There is only a finite amount of people that can afford the services, and you can't expect competition to wait quietly. That's where the problem is. Their flywheel is too narrow and replicable. Check Disney flywheel in comparison. Designed by Walt himself 65 years ago. It's literally a combined harvester. The next Facebook. In reaction to the recent user drops, Netflix has announced some drastic decision to try to keep on increasing profits while numbers are going down.
He didn't obviously want to go ad-supported, but desperate times call for desperate measures. So that's where we go.
They know and are aware of ad limits. That's why they never did it until now. But their business model and investors don't leave them a choice. They need to keep on growing constantly. Does it not remind you another platform that grew very quickly but is now starting to die slowly but surely? I can't help to see similarities between Netflix and Facebook. Sure, Facebook is much more social than Netflix, but both platforms are centered around content consumption and went very quickly from the coolest young underdog ad-free emerging online platform to becoming an overvalued stock with too much money and a lot of expectation to maintain high growth. But the biggest problem with this quote solution is not so much that it won't work, it's more that it's giving an insane edge to competition. The end of monopoly.
You know, the first rule of capitalism says that excess returns will always get competed away. Netflix had the run of the place where they were an effective monopoly.
Totally.
And now when everybody else woke up and got religion, they decided to invest and they've created some really compelling content. And so all of those returns will now get spread across 7 or 8 or 9 competitors, which means that just by definition, mathematically, Netflix can't win the way that they used to.
The last major issue Netflix is facing is that competition finally started to catch up. Back in 2007, they had a complete monopoly on the supply, so to see your favorite show online legally, you had no choice but to join them. Now HBO, Disney and many others are here. They took away the greatest show. They have strong IPs and equivalent services for more competitive prices. Today, Netflix has no choice but to keep on creating new original content to stay relevant. All this content creation is expensive to produce, which explains the constant price increase of the services. Netflix do not have the flywheel effect of Disney, who have iconic characters and brands that they can easily repurpose their audience or monetize in several ways. In this capitalistic/competitive environment Netflix is evolving, increasing your prices without improving the experience is like shooting yourself in the feet just before running a half marathon. They don't want to be the next Facebook. Netflix must do what they haven't done in years, not just innovate, but disrupt. Part 2, NFT to the rescue. The potential of NFT. NFT has been the buzzword of 2021. Everyone has heard about it, but if you're not a gamer, an artist, or a crypto enthusiast, chances are you have trouble understanding it. NFT are digital certificate of ownership. They certify the authenticity of digital goods and thus make them unique. For as long as the internet has existed, we've been able to copy-paste pictures, text, videos, which is great for spreading information, but not so great for making a living as a creator. Businesses and individuals can create digital files that are limited in quantities. NFT enable us to do online what we've been able to do offline for centuries: the trading of scarce items. Except this time, the items are digital and much more liquid. Most people get really mad at the tech because it makes our human irrationality more visible and transparent than ever. But is collecting NFT, unique digital assets, more irrational than collecting stamps, teddy bears, or Pokemon cards? NFT is only a tool and a useful one. Beyond the bad press, thousands of artists have been able to make life-changing money as they are now able to sell their art directly to their collectors. But NFT is not only great for artists. They have the potential to revolutionize the cultural world at large by making it easy to invest and fund, buy and sell, support and grow creation of all kinds. For instance, two old traditional publishing companies such as Playboy and Time magazine have been able to generate respectively 12 and 10 millions from the NFT sales. If Playboy and Time magazine did so well, Netflix can do even better. Why? Because 100% of Netflix content is digital. Netflix experimentation. Netflix recently started to experiment with NFT on two great original productions: Love, Death and Robots and Stranger Things. Why didn't you hear about it? Because they have externalized both initiatives. One company called Feature.io organized the Love, Death and Robot treasure hunt, which was a great way for Netflix to interact with its audience. The other company, called Candy, helped monetize Stranger Things IP through the sale of 11,111 digital posters of Stranger Things characters. This experimentation allowed them to learn best practices while not having the Netflix brand too visible until they have great positive feedback. It's smart of them to start small, but remember Master Yoda words.
Do or do not. There is no try.
They can be successful if they don't bring real value or innovation to their collectors. Check the secondary of the Upside Down collection. Out of the 2,750 secondary sale, more than 1/3 were below the initial price of $11. Why is that? Because there is zero benefit of owning an NFT. It is sold as a piece of art, but the quantity issued actually suggests otherwise. People only bought in because 1. They love Stranger Things, 2. They know that plenty others love the show, so they bought several to be able to resell to other later. Both Netflix and collectors have bet on the cultural significance of the show to sell the NFT. But the NFT value doesn't have to come from speculation only. It can also come from real, tangible utility. The Netflix Pass, a simple win-win opportunity. Here is a simple, better way for Netflix to utilize NFT. The NFT Leaks Pass. The Netflix Pass. Every time Netflix releases a new original content, they also issue a limited amount of the Netflix Pass. The visual of the pass could be specific scene or punchline or iconic characters from that original creation. What are the benefits of owning a pass? Think about it as a premium access to Netflix services. You have live access to the platform, you have small voting power, and you get access to exclusive content. Netflix executive be like, what the fuck that Digen is talking about? Ha ha ha, free access, lolly lol, lolly lol lol. Let me develop. You have live access to the platform. In traditional NFT release collection, everyone purchases the same asset. Once purchased, some element of this asset will be randomized, so each piece of the collection is unique and more or less valuable depending on the rarity of the trait compared to the rest of the collection. In the same way, the utility of the Netflix pass on the platform can vary depending on which trait your NFT will get. You could have live access to the platform only on specific days or hours, or for specific genders, or for specific TV shows. You have small voting powers. Directing a movie is hard enough, so asking people for input might only complicate the whole process, but it doesn't have to be that way. Giving more choice to people who truly care can also be fun. It can be as simple as deciding if you want all episodes at once or week after week, deciding the name of a secondary character, or what should be the release date of the next month, what should be the next Easter eggs, etc, etc. Exclusive content. Behind the scene, next upcoming project, interview, I'm sure Netflix has plenty of content that could be super interesting for the nerds and true fans. People will also go nuts for exclusive merchandising or being invited to see the premiere of their favorite show. The idea is simple. Instead of desperate attempt, Netflix tries something new, targeting a very specific audience. Instead of saying, "We don't trust you," Netflix is entrusting some of its users with higher responsibilities. Instead of cracking down on password sharing, they start giving real ownership to their users. Because of the nature of NFT, it will become much harder to share this specific access, and thus only will impact positively the amount of subscribers in a given country. So the idea is simple. Let's see about the math. Instead of a simple poster art collection release, let's say Netflix sells the pass at $100 in open edition for the latest seasons of Stranger Things 4. With roughly 10% of the total subscribers that saw the show, Netflix will generate more than 20 million by providing the pass to less than 1% of people who watch Stranger Things 4, or 0.1% of the existing user base. That's not even including that some users will accumulate several passes or the commission on secondary sales, which we will discuss later. How much will it cost them to set it up? Definitely less than the worst TV show they have produced in the past. Only the tech part would be a bit annoying to handle, but I'm sure that Netflix has its fair amount of geniuses among its employees. From cringe to obvious. What's the point of all of this? You might think that 20 million is not much compared to the 30 million necessary for one episode, or the 8 billion they generate per quarter. But starting the NFT journey through this strategy is a simple win-win. For Netflix, it generates instant cash flow, fresh audience, and an open door to further experimentation without cannibalizing their offer.
NFTs are extremely interesting because these are, and each of these words is very important. NFTs are the first digital, global, rules-based property rights system.
For the pass holders, Netflix is no longer an expense. As they can sell their access anytime, it's now a cultural investment and a new experience. It's an invitation to be part of something greater for those of us that want more than just binge watching. More importantly, it consolidates Netflix Flywheel and introduces a fresh growth dynamic. The pass onboards new consumers and increase user engagement by involving them emotionally and financially into the show. The pass also helps monetize the brand IP from the content produced. How? The pass itself will generate revenue. To that, you can add exclusive merchandising that can be sold as redeemable NFT to facilitate trades. Finally, the royalties on secondary markets. Every time someone resells the NFT, the pass, or the redeemable merch, Netflix is taking a percentage of the sale. The latter is worth diving into. The power of royalties. NFT have value because they have the potential to live forever. That's thanks to the blockchain that is a shared public database that keeps tracks on each and every new NFT created, transferred, destroyed, etc. That means that when someone is tired of it, they don't cancel their past, they sell it. Netflix will take a percentage of the sale, making it profitable even when someone is leaving. Another benefit of the commission on secondary sale is that the royalties will allow them to capitalize on the hype of a new popular show, as more excitement means more trades, which means more royalties. From customers to communities. I know what you're thinking, it's too good to be true. How can an NFT pass save $1 billion company? You're right, it's not that simple. To make Netflix entrance into NFT a success, they must start building real communities around their stories and thus these assets. Netflix need to convert simple passive subscribers into active contributing members, and that's not so easy. Communities from popular shows emerged naturally, but will Netflix be able to recreate this feeling of belonging with smaller production? Right now at Netflix, users don't contribute to the brand more than through their personal data taken despite their will. NFT can do a lot, but they can't elevate the relationship between users and the platform. This must come from within. Good thing is Netflix brand is still strong. All they need to do is add deepness to the platform. Netflix maximalists and NFT buyers need a place where they can learn, meet, greet and speculate on their favorite TV show. By giving early insight to the most involved community members, influencers and content creators, you give them the tools to publicly show off and spread the brands. Back to basics.
I think movie making is about to change forever. There are millions of movies in the brains of brilliant people today that can't be made because they're not part of the Hollywood machine. You will have young filmmakers who have brilliant ideas, who will be able to go to the world and their audience, like we do today on TikTok and Instagram, and say, here is my script. If you buy an NFT from this movie and here's the image, maybe the NFT is the movie poster. The NFT is actually a smart contract for a piece of the back end of the movie. So you read it, you love it, you think it would be an amazing movie. Now you buy 4 NFTs and you own 0.001% of the back end of the film, but then the film actually can get made because that individual has raised enough money from selling NFTs. Then it goes out, then they own it, the audience owns it, and then it gets distribution from the way OTT now works. These are things that I can see from the blockchain that I don't think people are putting the pieces together just yet, and it will change the world.
The future is going to be wild and can be disruptive too. It's time Netflix do no chill and achieve its final evolution of the day. The NFT Leaks Pass is Netflix's exit plan of this linear model, but it's also an open door to further experimentation around community-driven production, shared ownership, crowdfunding, gamifications, decentralized marketing, and much more. Being a platform was nice, but being a living ecosystem is what tomorrow true longevity looks like. If Netflix gives real power and ownership to its users, the NFT and Web3 space will have its back. Of course, they must avoid what Facebook did, trying to own and shape the movement instead of simply embracing it. The takeaway, if you're an entrepreneur, ask yourself these questions. 1. What is my flywheel and what should I do to focus on it? Remember, flywheel are hard to start, but they are also hard to stop. Understand your flywheel to know what to focus on and grind it until it's rolling. 2. Does giving real ownership to my users make sense? NFT are going to be game changer for much smaller and much bigger companies than Netflix. If the answer is yes, seriously consider learning more about NFTs. NFT can help shape your flywheel, but remember, it's only a tool and not a finite solution. Thank you all so much for watching this video until the end. This is the first time I spent so much time working on a piece of content, so if you like it and if it was worth it, please let me know in the comment section. Wishing you all a beautiful day. Don't forget to subscribe, and until the next video, bye bye.